All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to talk about Khamzat Chimaev and Conor McGregor and the drastic miscalculations that people are making about both guys. And they might be in kind of separate topics, the two of them, but equally large miscalculations, it looks like to me. But we're going to talk about that. Now, before we do, though, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Tell every single person that you've ever met, because I am still dealing with a bunch of people disliking my videos who aren't even MMA fans. Now, I have always treated this channel in a way where, like, I just look at the camera and I pretend I'm talking to a group of my best friends. And so whenever I meet people, they're like, dude, I feel like I know you. Yeah, it's because you do, dude. You do. You know me as well as, like, most of my friends, because that's how I treat this channel. So, like, I don't know. I mean, if you could help me out with a like, that would be awesome. Because, you know, the ratios actually do matter, believe it or not. You know, if you get a bunch of negative stuff, they suggest your stuff less. So if you could help me overwhelm the people who are just maliciously disliking my stuff, I will love you forever. Thank you, guys. And then also, if you watch my stuff consistently, haven't subscribed, I would appreciate it if you just click the subscribe button. You don't even have to ring the bell. Even if I'm the only channel you subscribe to, I will feel very special. Anyway, okay, so miscalculation. So let's start with Khamzat Chimaev. So full disclosure, I actually heard Rogan talking about this today. And I was like, man, that is an excellent point. And the point that I heard was how prior to him fighting Gilbert Burns, you know, people are saying they don't want to fight him because, you know, oh, he hasn't beat anybody. You know, oh, he's not ranked. He hasn't beat anybody. Now, if they were serious about that, you know, like if that really was their, you know, kind of mental calculation, then again, I will stress this as much as I possibly can. There are not two different ways that you earn title shots. There is one way that you earn title shots, aside from obviously winning fights. And it ain't beating contenders that are ahead of you. It is building hype around yourself and also winning, okay? The numbers don't matter that much. What matters much more is how much hype you have, because ultimately the champion is going to decide who they fight. And the champion has back end on the pay-per-view, which means the champion is incentivized to choose a person who's going to draw eyeballs. And so if you are in the number 4 spot, as an example, or number 3 spot, and they're like, you can either have this guy who has a number ahead of you, or this guy who has enormous hype on him, absolutely enormous hype. If the reason you say you don't want to fight him is because he's not ranked, then you do not understand the way that this works. Okay? Ranking is less important than hype. And if you beat a dude with a lot of hype, then you take that hype. That's why it was smart for Leon Edwards to fight Nate Diaz. It just turned out that, you know, if he would have finished Nate Diaz, that would have been tremendous for Leon. It couldn't have gone, you know, if he was going to win the fight, it couldn't have gone worse for him, you know? Like, he won a dominant decision, but didn't really, like, you know, didn't finish him. And then Nate almost knocked him out in the last minute. So that, you know, that didn't end up being great for Leon. But look at Gilbert Burns. He lost the fight to Khamzat and is now a much bigger star. You know, he's a much bigger star. And in all honesty, has a much better chance of getting another title shot now, because everyone knows that was really close. And so if he goes and he wins, gets a dominant victory in his next fight, he's right there for a title shot also, you know? And so one massive miscalculation about Khamzat, not the main one we're going to talk about, is why you would or wouldn't fight him. That was that's like, you should have wanted that fight. If it was just about the ranking and you weren't afraid to fight him, if it was just about that, that's a miscalculation in and of itself. Now, in addition to that, if people were like, yeah, he's not ranked, and also they're looking at him, they're like, Jesus, I don't want nothing to do with this guy. You know, because here's the thing. There's two ways to look at where he was prior to the Gilbert Burns fight, right? Two ways. One is he hasn't fought anyone real, so he's not real, right? The other way is he's running through these guys. Like, no one is even giving him a minimum, like just minimum level resistance. Like, he is annihilating these guys. So I don't really know what he has. Like, the correct way to look at it is that, you know, he's running through. It doesn't mean that he is the most dangerous fighter in the world. It means he's a lot better than the guys down there. A lot better. A lot better. You know, if you think about, you know, you think about the guys that he beat, I mean, in all honesty, dude, you're going to be hard pressed to find someone that would run through all of them and make it look that easy, you know? But at the same time, all you really know is that you don't know. All you know is that he's much better than the unranked guys. Much better. And Li Jingliang too. But that was a good stylistic matchup for him. And so he might be the best fighter that's ever fought, but or he might not be. You just don't know. You don't know until he fights a real guy. Now you've seen him fight a real guy, you know? And so if they were underestimating him, that was obviously a huge miscalculation. If they were overestimating him, that was obviously a huge miscalculation. But right now, the main miscalculation that you're looking at is because Gilbert Burns fought him so tough that makes him like, you know, really, really beatable. You know, like, oh, now he looks really beatable. Because the main miscalculation that exists there, yes, I'm going to try to say miscalculation as many times as possible. But the main one there is people are dramatically underestimating how good Gilbert Burns is. Dramatically underestimating. So he wins a war against Gilbert, and they're like, damn, so he's really beatable. And you're like, I'm not sure you understand what you're looking at when you look at Gilbert Burns. Because I will rewind to things I've said before. Gilbert was my guy to be the champion at 170. I really thought that he was the best guy. Like, I was like, Kamaru, and in all honesty, I think prior to Kamaru going to train with Trevor Whitman, I think I was right. I really do. Like, I think that, you know, before Kamaru developed such a strong stand-up game, I mean, because Gilbert is so explosive on the feet, he almost knocked Kamaru out in the first round, almost. And then Kamaru showed tremendous resilience and, you know, dirt napped him. And God, man, Kamaru has such massive power in his hands. It's crazy. Because he just looks so clean. He just looks like he has great, clean, straight punches, except they send you to another dimension if he hits you with them. It's really, really impressive. But in terms of Khamzat, like I said, dude, people are miscalculating that fight against Gilbert to a big level, dude. He is that good. He is that good. And another point that Joe Rogan made was like, you don't really know what a guy really has until they face resistance, because there are these guys who are front runners where if they're smashing someone, if they're just, you know, if they get the momentum, they are killers, dude. They just run people right over. But then as soon as they face some resistance, not so much, dude. And they used Mike Tyson and Conor McGregor as good examples of that. And I would say that those are pretty strong examples. Now with Conor, it might, you know, I think it's still kind of, I don't know. I used to really think it had to do with cardio, but I mean, there's absolutely no question that Conor is one of the biggest front runners there is. Like, and I mean that as a compliment to him. We're like, if he gets an edge on you early, dude, if you even start to take a backward step against that guy early, he is going to run you the fuck over. That's one. I mean, he's, you know, how like certain guys are like really good finishers. He's like that, you know, he's like that, where if he's on you, he's going to run through you. But as you've seen, it's like, okay, well, how did he do when guys, you know, presented some strong pushback, you know? Now you got the Chad Mendes fight where he was getting, you know, he lost the first round and then he ended up knocking out Chad Mendes. But Mendes took that on short notice. I mean, still all the credit to Conor. Like, you know, he kicked him directly in the gut. You know, I mean, that's certainly going to take some of your wind out of you when you take the ball of your foot to your solar plex from an Irish karate killing machine. But like, you know, I mean, it's really hard to say, dude, because I mean, like Khabib is so good that you can't really take very much from that fight. Like, what are you going to take from that fight? You know, and then like the first Nate Diaz fight, he went up 2 weight classes, had a staph infection. Again, it's hard to take much from that one. And in the second Nate Diaz fight, he showed tremendous resilience, but he was up against a guy who didn't have like heavy knockout power in the late rounds when he was tired, you know? So there's that. And then like, so you got those 2 losses. Then you got the Poirier loss, and Poirier calf kicked him to death that he wasn't used to that technique. And so he chopped his leg out. Honestly, it's hard to say, dude. Conor's, you can't really say that he folds under pressure either, you know, like, I don't know, man. His career, I mean, because his career is an enigma. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does when he comes back. But anyway, so Khamzat is being underestimated. That's the main miscalculation people are making. They're underestimating him now. I think people were overestimating him before, and now they're underestimating him because they're underestimating how good Gilbert Burns is. And so with Conor, the miscalculation I saw, I can't believe I said that again. The miscalculation. But the thing that I see that I've been reading in the comments, because I just did a video about Conor and I'm reading, is like people are saying that he's irrelevant now. And they're serious. Like they're serious. They're like, Conor is not a serious player in the fight, in the actual fight game anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? How on, like I saw that comment like 6 times in the last 24 hours. We're like, Conor's, yeah, but he's not a serious player, you know, in the actual fight game. I'm like, how? Okay. So explain to me how you could defend that position, you know? Well, I mean, when was the last time he won? Okay. That's not what you said. You said he's not a serious player in the fight game. You know, well, right. Because he's not winning. He's just like, he comes in, dude, if Conor fights, it's the biggest event of the year. Period. Okay? Period. He outsells any other fighter by 500,000 pay-per-view buys. Aside from maybe Masvidal. Okay? Like, he still outsells Masvidal, just maybe not by 500,000 buys. As a matter of fact, I don't know, though. I don't know what Colby and Masvidal did, because if that one didn't do, you know, because I was basing that on when Masvidal filled in for Gilbert Burns on short notice, and that one did like 1.2 or 1.3 million buys, which was crazy. But like, the bottom line is this: like, that's just an absolutely incorrect statement. Okay, Conor is the most relevant guy, so relevant that he can walk directly into a title shot without having won a fight since like whatever 2020 when he beat Cowboy, you know, like straight into a title shot, because he's going to do that, which goes back to the original conversation that we had, which was, what really drives a title shot? Is it because you get a higher number, or is it because you are going to sell pay-per-views? Why do you think Kamaru would take that Conor fight? Why do you think Kamaru will say, ouchie, ouchie, my hand, it's not healing well, so that he can wait to fight? Why do you think that is? You think it's because Conor has a number 2 next to his name or number 1 contender next to his name? Of course not. Conor proves the rule. And you might not like it. But there's no argument here. Like, it's not a position that you can argue and be correct in. There is just, bottom line, a correct answer, which is that what drives your likelihood of fighting for a title more is your ability to draw eyeballs in pay-per-view. Period. Now, you have to be able to win the fight. You have to win the fights so they can justify giving it to you in most cases. But like in Conor's case, you don't even have to do that, dude. You don't even have to do that. If you're that big, it supersedes everything. So people, you know, who are evaluating Conor's position in the industry right now and saying he's irrelevant, what the fuck are you talking about? That's just wrong. Like, it's just fucking wrong. That's not correct, dude. Fundamentally incorrect. Provably incorrect. Thanks for playing, though. So if you have it in your heart where you want to comment something like Conor's irrelevant, okay, you're just wrong. You know, he doesn't really matter in the combat sports. Yeah, right. The only argument you could say is that, like, well, him coming in and selling a bunch of pay-per-views and losing doesn't make him relevant. Well, yeah, it does, though. It absolutely does. Because check this out. What would happen if he won? Okay? Like, what would have happened had he beat Dustin Poirier in January of 2021? What would have happened? Give up? He would have fought Khabib. Khabib would have stayed around for one more fight, and it would have been against Conor, and it would have been huge. Dustin beat him, right? What would have happened if he won the second Dustin fight? Who do you think would have gotten the next title shot? Dustin got it. Who do you think would have got it? Conor. Okay? Conor. Now, let's think about this. Ready? If Conor wins when he fights Kamaru, right? Is he relevant at that point? Oh, wow. It'll be like one of the greatest comeback stories of all time. He'll prance around like, you know, triple belt. It'll be like, so like, of course he's relevant, dude. Like, that's an argument that makes no sense. It makes no sense. And I would imagine a lot of you guys are like, well, duh. But I'm telling you, like, I'm seeing this a lot. Like, this is a comment I was seeing a lot from people who don't have, like, they're not like, these are people who comment a lot. They don't normally have bad takes. They're just wrong about this. Anyway, that's what I got. Love you guys. Peace.